My name is Sam Price, the Crypto Lifer, and I've been trading for over 15 years and watching different tickers, trading multiple markets from the Toronto Stock Exchange, the New York Stock Exchange into cryptocurrency. I have 10 years of constant technical analysis experience, and I'm here to bring it to you every single Friday for my macro technical analysis video. We're going to do Bitcoin, total 3, Bitcoin dominance, Tether dominance, the DXY, the S&P futures, the NASDAQ futures, gold, and a couple other charts that are going to show you where I believe cryptocurrency is going based on what the charts convey. We're going to deep dive right now into what I said last week. Watch this clip right here. See what I said last week. It's quite interesting. Take a look at this. And to me, it tells me that there could be a big move. I'm watching to make sure the 15-minute doesn't lose the 200. As long as you stay above the 15-minute 200, we can pump to the upside. So, and you kind of have to use a little bit of smaller time frames when you're doing bigger, even though it's a bigger time frame move, because we're in price discovery. So we're looking for this to continue up, this rising wedge to break out all the way to $86,000 for Bitcoin. And wow, I was blown away. I mean, I called 86,000 beautifully and beyond. This thing started to pump absolutely lovely. Let's take a look at our weekly and talk about what happened. Bitcoin absolutely ripping to the upside. We talked about this being a flag. We talked about the flag breaking out. We went over it many times. If we're going to get very direct about where we're going here, we take this wick all the way down to the bottom wick, and we do pull that in this section like so. And if we slap that on there and give it a little bit of a redirect, gives us about gives us about $121,000 Bitcoin somewhere by the end of February. It could be earlier. Maybe we get there, And again, timing, I'm not usually like spot on timing, but it does tell me eventually. I am 90% sure, granted we don't have some type of black swan event, that Bitcoin will be at $121,000 somewhere, into 2025, and maybe even it gets there earlier than I believe. But I'm telling you, very, very sure that we're going to hit 100,000 and beyond. Remember, there was a FOMO. People thought they were going to get in at 65 when it was at 69. It went to 72. Then the people that thought they were going to get 65 started buying at 70 because they didn't have a choice. Then the people said, I'll wait for a pullback. When it gets to 80, it'll pull back to 70. It always does. It didn't do that. And people started buying at 81. Now, everyone that said they're going to buy when it pulls back to 85 are the ones probably going to buy today when it goes to 90, 92, 91. You get it? And so what happens, you have so many people saying they were going to buy the dip. The dip never comes. They get so scared. Their FOMO overtakes their ability to be patient. And that happens to the whole world. And it affects this. When Bitcoin cracks 100 grand, that's going to happen again. And I believe we go very fast into 105, 110, and into the teens, just because there's going to be that FOMO effect that so many people waiting on the line didn't get in, and they're going to be freaking out. The weekly's a little extended. We are away from the 21. I'm watching the 3-day chart a little bit. I would like to see it not close a red candle. Every time the 3-day closed a red candle next to a green one, we pulled back, 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 we pulled back a little bit. The last 2 times were tiny. You would expect this not to do it at all. We will see, though, in 1 day and 6 hours when this bar will close. Always right-click and hit countdown to bar close so you can find out when your bar will close on your time frame. We go to the 4-hour time frame, and that's kind of the one everybody's watching here, and it's got Bitcoin in a bit of a flag, right? Again, just similar to what I said the last time we were here. We were watching a flag on the 4-hour time frame, and this gives me a measured move somewhere up to about $108,000 Bitcoin. So this tells me that into the weekend we start a pump. We may crack the all-time high, and at that point, the frenzy ensues, and it will just be a buy frenzy into $100,000 Bitcoin. Now, what if we do a shoulder head? What if this kind of makes a right shoulder and we dump and we come back down to 76,000? I'm open-minded to that, and I'll keep us privy. What will happen first is the 1 hour here will lose the 200 MA and get close to it. The 15-minute, which is toying with the 200 MA, will lose it definitively, and it will lose this trend line. So the first thing that will happen if we are going to take a big pullback is the 15-minute will lose the bottom trend line here and do a bearish retest of this point of control. I'll know that. I'll have alerts on it. I only sleep 4 hours a night. I'll be pretty sure I'll be on it. And then I'll flip to the 1 hour or even the 30-minute. If the 30-minute loses the 200, we flip to the 45. If the 45 loses that 200 MA, it's likely that you are getting some pullback, at least to 81 or 85. But as long as we stay inside this channel and that doesn't happen, as long as we stay above 89,000 even, I just don't see how that occurs, but it could. I'm open-minded to it. So that's how you can figure out how to short if you want to or buy the lows. That's going to be your ticket, watching the 30-minute and the 45-minute 200 MA and this bottom trend line. But for now, we have to say that it's still good and it could break to the upside. That target takes us to $108,000 Bitcoin. So I do see how we could dump, but right now I'm calling for a move to the upside on the macros, and that's what I see happening for Bitcoin. The total market cap. Remember, we showed this rising wedge when we were here last. This is the 15th. It was the 8th. We were right here. And this is key to pattern trading. You'll lose it. If you get back inside, play the pattern exactly like it got in. And so this tells us that we were headed up to $288 trillion for the total market cap and all of the altcoins and all and everything. This is the big, the market cap of every crypto put together. And what you want to see now is just basically like in either an uptrending flag or some type of a sideways flag before this thing can make a huge move to the upside. And that's just kind of what we're looking for. I drew this flag. I circled the area. We went exactly to the area I said, even a little higher to 3 trillion. I was talking about us going to $2.87 trillion in this market. We ripped to the upside. I'm going to delete my old work, get rid of the moving averages. We're going to start fresh again. And I'm just going to show you what I see occurring. So the total market cap did wonders, did the bullish retest, broke out the bull flag, and then continued to the upside. That also, like Bitcoin to 120,000, says we go to $4.3 trillion. $1 trillion comes into this market faster than we realize, probably faster than we've ever seen it. I think it's going to be insane. Institutional investors are going to be getting into memes and all sorts of coins. I think they're going to have, basically exposure to way more than they had before because the dollar is weak. It doesn't give you the greatest return. I mean, the dollar's strong actually right now, but it doesn't give you a better return than crypto for sure. And so what I see happening is the same thing. We got to watch the 4-hour time frame. And as long as this 4-hour stays, and I have mixed signals, like it could be a head and shoulder dump and it could be a pump. Like we're kind of in the middle here. I see how it could break this down and break to the downside. That's why I definitely heed you to watch the 30-minute and the 40-minute time frame, 45-minute. They're going to give you the insight. If this keeps going, breaks out, and does the retest, though, you're continuing up to $3.7 trillion. So either we have some type of pullback here and bounce, probably off of 2.63, or we stay flatter and continue to pump. Either way, one will just take us a little longer, but I do see us headed to $3.72 trillion not too long from now. Total 3, we talked about this, breaking out of this channel. I see this just, consolidating maybe for a couple days. I'd say 5 or 6 at the most, and then it looks like a bigger move is coming for total market cap of all the altcoins. We gave you the little flag there, which we took from the measured move. We hit the exact measured move to the upside. The altcoins ripped. The altcoins look better than Bitcoin. They've been waiting their turn. It's time. Ascending triangle looks beautiful. This is ready to rock. I loaded up. I put $80,000 into Render, $40,000 into Near Protocol, $20,000 and another 40 grand into SEI. I have loaded up on altcoins. This is telling me that this will be my last chance to get into altcoins before they make a massive rally. Remember, I called altcoin season when that cup and handle started like weeks and weeks ago. And since then, we've had massive runs in altcoins. Like a lot of coins have pumped pretty good. XRP doing damage too, which is awesome. I see this continuing up. Today is the 15th. It says by the 18th, and it says by next week when we're here together on the 22nd, we're somewhere up in here, right? So it's telling me that when I come and see you again on the 23rd, a week from now on our macro analysis here, Friday, right here, we're going to be somewhere in this circled region, maybe a little broader, but somewhere in this circled region here on our way to the upside for total. Bitcoin dominance, it gave a little bit of love, some altcoins pump, but it's still forming. Bitcoin is the king. And I see this getting tighter and tighter and then ripping. Bitcoin dominance headed to 64, only a matter of time. When Bitcoin rips to 120,000, 100,000, it's going to go crazy. Watch, it is going to push the altcoins to the side for a second. It's going to be the boss. I see a big move for Bitcoin dominance. Look for us to go sideways by the 18th, 19th, and we may go sideways up until then. That would be, if this goes sideways and altcoins rip a little bit, that would be great. And then we get the pump. US Tether, we put it in a bear flag, told you it was going to break down all the way to 4.2 cent. It's exactly what happened. People are not wanting to hold their Tether. Why? And then another bear flag here, which if we flip this upside down is the bull flag, Bitcoin. So I see this continuing to the downside. DXY further down. When I end up next week here again, looks like we could be even lower somewhere on the 22nd. But at least by the 17th, it says this bear flag breaks to the downside. And we were spot on. Look at that. We gave you this last week. It did exactly what we said. This was the 8th right here. I had my lines drawn and everything. And that's exactly what happened. If you had watched my macro analysis, you would have been so on point with the markets. The DXY. I said, watch the DXY. I said, it's not going to dump like usual. Donald Trump is going to make a strong dollar. Vivek Ramaswamy, the whole crew. this is going to pump. And I drew it and I said, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a pump for the DXY. Trump is super bullish on the dollar. Trump in office is a strong dollar. He's going to have tariffs. He's going to put it his way. And I really think that helps the dollar somewhat. It doesn't hurt Bitcoin per se, and it doesn't hurt risk on assets. I think everything can pump. They're going to still continue to print money, which makes things go up in value, right? But, you know, a strong dollar, if you have tariffs, there's all sorts of talks of things changing here, and that could change. And all of a sudden, you have this move up here, and it looks like we may get Bitcoin and the dollar to pump together for the next few days or for a week here. So just be careful. Don't be surprised if you do see the dollar pump. It looks like it may pump with Bitcoin. And, you know, that's just something that you have to keep on the radar. And I drew the flag, told you where it was going, and it's about halfway there. I see the DXY continuing. The dollar and the DXY can live together, man. They could pump together. They should be both powerful together. We don't have to have Bitcoin pump just because the dollar dumps. They can rise together. If the demand for Bitcoin is awesome and the demand for the dollar stays, you know, basically where it was and grows, they're going to pump together. More and more, you know, countries are adapting are basically taking on the dollar more than you realize. It's still a very strong form of currency throughout the world. People still love America. It's a guiding hope, a guiding light, especially after what happened in the last few weeks. Thank the Lord. So the DXY back up here to 110. It looks like it can do it. Be careful. I'm not saying it's going to do it immediately. Next week, it says we'll probably be somewhere here just at 108. But the DXY looks strong, but it's not threatening Bitcoin. Gold had a huge run up. People kind of ran it up a little bit too much. It ran into some bearish divergence. Gold likely to start breaking down. Flip on your moving averages. Wait for gold to come back to, I'd say, the daily 21 or the daily 200 MA. Yeah, exactly. So I see gold doing this, getting a bounce up and then just consolidating. It could even be a little flatter. It may not be as more vertically down. And then boom, a move for gold. Gold will be $3,500 an ounce. I say buy next year in October, maybe even earlier, maybe by August. But I do see gold going on a tear eventually. They're going to print so much money. Even if the dollar goes up in value, they're going to print more money, which is going to put everything up in value. Last but not least, we have SOLBTC. And Sol is just beating up on Bitcoin. It looks like an Adam and Eve getting very tight. I believe you put one Bitcoin in here in your Sol trade, you'll be able to make 118% and double your Bitcoin. That's what the charts convey. That's what could happen. Had we started talking about it here and down there, and it's gone to fruition. If Bitcoin pumps, Sol pumps. If Sol pumps, it outperforms Bitcoin. If the markets do what they're supposed to do, then this has to rip technically. It just is what has to happen. Sol also has to beat up on Ethereum. How could Ethereum beat Sol when it has higher fees, can't do as many transactions as Sol can? So Sol can out-transact it, can outperform it, and more people are going to use it. Therefore, it's going to beat it as a use case. I see it beating up. It's already up since I talked about it because I said 120. You're already up almost 30%, and I see another 85% coming out of the Sol Ethereum trade. Last but not least, let's take a look at the S&P futures and see what's happening here. S&P, I looked for it to break out, but it also said that was a controversial area. We had some chop. We could come back down to the bottom of the channel. See how I drew this? I was looking for the right shoulder there. We dipped and then still pumped. I said, we're probably going to get to the top of this channel, but then look for us to break down. It's interesting. It's exactly what happened. We didn't get the right shoulder, so I didn't nail that prediction, but we did come up here. Then we made this flag. It looks like the flag could break out. I did talk about the fact that this could boom, but you can see I have something drawn here suggesting that maybe we get resistance and we could fall back down to the bottom of the pattern. You have to remember, people are starting to say that cryptocurrency is better, right? Cryptocurrency is hot right now. And the market was hot for a while crypto wasn't. Remember, this was pumping when Bitcoin wasn't. Now Bitcoin's pumping. People are probably selling some stocks for Bitcoin at this point. You can always get back into that stock. Bitcoin has a fixed supply. These stocks don't have a fixed supply. People are FOMOing in for Bitcoin. You can see it in the stock market. I still see this bouncing and getting a move. Over time, this will continue to go up in value. I'm still predicting a huge move here for the S&P futures. And I'm saying that these are pretty good times to get in. This tells me you're going to be somewhere, by 6,000, 6,800. It says we could still go on a pretty crazy rally into next year. Now, again, of course, if you lose this, you're going to start to drop down. Watch for that. But I want to see the bounce. And I'm predicting that we will get that bounce, and this will go further to the upside. The NQ, the NASDAQ E-mini futures, Same exact story, morning glory, in the same pattern, came up. But then when Bitcoin ripped, it seems like everyone was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Today, the markets took a bit of a pullback too as well for whatever reason. All right, they got really frothy. People started to pull them back. This is kind of starting to make a bit of a rising wedge, though, more than an ascending triangle. Again, the daily says we continue down, actually. The daily says we may drop all the way back down to 18. See how the Stokes are pointing out? Let's see if the 4-hour can save the day with an oversold bounce here. So basically, Monday morning, you got to need a bounce sooner than later. If you do not get a bounce here, you'll barely retest and we could be lower. I suggest we will bounce. We bounced every time. It makes sense. You know, maybe the dollar kind of drops a little bit. This gets a bounce. But with the strong dollar, it affected the stock market. It didn't affect Bitcoin because Bitcoin got stronger than the dollar. You have to understand, Bitcoin's starting to really decouple from the S&P, showing that, look, they dumped today, but Bitcoin, you know, on a really completely different trajectory. I mean, Bitcoin's been ripping since our update last week. This has been going sideways and dumping since the update last week. And Bitcoin has made fathomable moves bigger than it's ever made in history. So Bitcoin clearly a better asset to hold than holding the S&P or anything like that. I basically disconnected myself from the traditional stock market a long time ago. I knew Bitcoin was just a far better asset to be in, and it was just really a no-brainer. Once you did the math and you were a thoroughly efficient person, you knew where to be the most efficient with your money, and that was just Bitcoin. Everybody, I love you. I appreciate you. I thank you so much for this wonderful 14 minutes. We packed so much in, and I'm super excited to share this with you every single week. I nailed it from last week. I hope I nail it again. Every single week, come here to get your macro top-down analysis so you can see where we're going. Zoom out to boom out. Don't get caught in the small time frames, and I'll be here for you every single week. I'm live every day, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Saturday, Monday through Friday, and Saturday and Sunday nights at 8 p.m. Also doing a weekend morning update Saturday and Sundays. We do a weekly candle close and a monthly candle close. That's multiple live streams every single month. It's about, I don't know, like 36 or something like that. It's crazy. I love you all. I appreciate you, and I'll see you on my next live stream or video. Please hit the notification bell so you don't miss it. Crypto is life.